battle against the elements. The BMW S1000 here on the compact 1000 PS hot lap test track. What an effort. But was it worth it? Let's see what the lap time says. Yes, 1000cc inline-4 powerhouse like the S1000R might seem totally out of place for some of you here on this Mickey Mouse track, as some of you like to call it. But I say there's no better proving ground than our 1000 PS hot lap test track here in Bad Fischau to show whether a bike is a real weapon or a complete dud. And why is that? Because I have got exactly 10 laps to dial into a bike, to get used to it. I've got 10 laps to warm up the tires. I've got 10 laps to figure out whether first gear works better through the corners or if it's smoother in second to reduce those abrupt load changes. And should I be riding in full hang-off style or not? Because when you ride hang-off, switching lean angles always brings a bit of instability into the mix. So yeah, you've got exactly 10 laps. And what does that tell you? You find out which bike makes it easy for you to ride fast in a sporty way. Especially on tight and demanding terrain, let's say, for example, the Stelvio Pass, which has similar corner radii, but on top of that, you've got the gradient. So world-class proving ground, no question. And I'll be honest, I never know the lap time beforehand. That's always the risky bit. I talk big, just based on how it feels, and then you see what the truth is, what the stopwatch actually says. S1000R. One big plus is that powerful inline-4 engine with a broad rev range and a feeling of torque and power no matter what. That really helps me ride the corners the way I like. I can choose between first or second gear. I can decide whether I want to run lower revs to avoid that explosive punch. And that gives me a lot of flexibility to ride at the rev level I'm most comfortable with. What's the second big advantage? The second is how well I can control that power and how confidently I can send it to the rear wheel. I've even got very sporty tires fitted here. Sure, they take a bit to warm up, so I had to sacrifice the first few laps, but afterwards I could open the throttle without worrying because the electronic rider aids are that good. You can see that in this dynamic pro mode, it even allows slight wheelies and they're not scary or disruptive. They don't hold you back, they just keep things fast and fun. Another benefit, I can brake really hard and still have excellent stability in the bike. That means even in hectic sections where you gotta tip it in again straight away, I can brake late, stay on the throttle longer and still have the confidence to make use of all that power because I know I can rein it back in quickly. And I think one of its strengths is how incredibly practical it is. With lots of cornering clearance, way more than I actually needed in most sections here. Another big plus is how easy it is to control thanks to the wide handlebars and the upright seating position. I didn't need to mess around in full hang-off mode, which can be really demanding in certain parts of track because it brings in so many load changes. So I much preferred riding here in a relaxed, upright position with just slight bit of hang-off and firm, deliberate inputs through the bars, and it worked brilliantly. The gearbox is ridiculously easy to operate. You just tap it and the gear's in. The Quickshifter works in perfect harmony with the gearbox, engine and electronics. Braking points are sharp and precise. And the tires, BMW Vienna fitted them, I think, for our 1000 PS Bridgestone track days. Worked absolutely spot on with the bike. Now with this best lap format, we always run different tires, sometimes stock, sometimes other new ones, just to show you how much difference the tire makes. And I'm curious to see how this one stacks up against the MT10, the Super Duke and so on. From the seat of the pants, this inline-4 engine feels like it's got more than enough grunt. I never had to feather the clutch in first gear just to get through tight hairpins. I could put down genuinely usable power to the rear wheel. I didn't dare go straight into high lean angles from lap 1 though. I think that's partly because the braking force on corner entry is so brutal that it really demands your full concentration. So overall, riding the S1000R here turned into a proper motorsport level challenge, and that's something some of you might experience on the road as well. You can cruise along smoothly with that 4-cylinder, stay relaxed and just get where you're going without any drama, but you can also push it and ride at a very high sporting level if that's what you're after, though that does make it physically demanding, especially on the braking. Given the upright riding position, you'll feel a lot of pressure on your hands, but that's typical of all naked bikes, not just this one. Still, the S1000R is a bike that really tempts you to ride fast and enjoy doing it. There's something cheeky and youthful about it that's hard to shake. I'd be willing to bet that anyone riding this bike regularly has to put up with the odd speeding ticket, because even though it's perfectly capable of a calm ride, it constantly lures you into sporty riding. So overall, from my perspective, it was a solid ride. I really hope the lap time was respectable, because if it wasn't, it's on me. The bike, if anything, shone even brighter here than it did last time on the racetrack. I honestly can't name a single area where it didn't perform. No weak spots. And that's down to its supersport DNA. Everything's built to such a high standard. You've got a proper frame, proper suspension components, and the whole setup handles this slower speed track with ease. As a rider, you're always the limiting factor, because the bike offers virtually limitless potential beneath you. And that's exactly what makes the BMW S1000R such a fascinating sporty motorcycle.